Oh, see now. Oh,
Now,
no,
you
it's got
finished
the
it.
time
It's
off.
going. It's going now. Look,
Well,
see?
I'm making the excuse that on my timer it said like 35 seconds to go, but Bruce was telling me it was time to start.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Hello there. Hello, MTV. Hello, Johnny.
This is the October stream, isn't it? Yeah.
Is that? Yeah, October 10 years ago. No, I'm fully expecting Bill Irby, CEO of Ag Eagle, to turn up now. So, tick, 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 tick. Where is he? He's not here. So, whilst we wait for him, should he not be here, Ian, you've got to set quite a how shall I put it? You'll have to send quite a strongly worded email to the police about the actions of the CAA in a recent FOIA. Would that be a good summary?
Are you on about this spelling mistake?
No, dobbing in
I'm
their
not.
mates.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. You're on about the throwing a partner agency under the bus, or so it reads like.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah. No, well, there is a spelling mistake in that as well, which made me laugh. But I don't normally laugh at these kind of things, by the way. But let's find it.
Hello, Simon. Did Simon go to the AR Paz meeting today? I see Mark was at it. I see him in the pictures, so that's why he's not with us now. And I see a friend of the show has joined the AR Paz committee, so hopefully things will get a little bit better. Right, as he's sending on the private chat, let's get this. Let's just get this up.
I can only do so much analysis of this because I was face palming, so I've not fully read it. I was going to leave it till tomorrow night or night after, but I probably can't leave it too long because. So actually, I might have to reply back sooner rather than later because I need to.
It's a live reply, real time replies.
I have to speak to the SEO. So on this one and the following one. So before you scroll down, there's two.
Okay.
They've done it as two attachments. So there's that one there.
Right.
The bottom attachment there, the PDF. That's it. And I don't know which is which on this. So those are my questions.
It's good to have done that on April Fool's Day, though.
Oh yes. Keep going down, and we'll see if this is a reply or if it's in with the next one. Right. So we've got it here. This was really strange because I can't remember if we discussed this last week or if it happened in between. It probably happened in between, but so I'd run this. For this freedom of information, I was asking for infringements for FRZs by drones, the data that the CAA held. Despite being the regulator for this country of airspace and looking after the drone community and airports and everything, the CAA said, we don't hold any such data. Why would we hold data about infringements at airports? I mean, with the CAA, why would we know about such things? With a serious face. And I go, but you do have the data. And they went, no, we don't. And I'm going, you do. And so this went on basically for a long time. And eventually to get the CAA to admit that they hold the data has meant going to the Information Commissioner, having spent about 3 months getting together various evidence from numerous sources, providing this information to the CAA. So, right up to the last minute, as we know, they changed their response to the first question as soon as the ICO got involved to say, actually, we do have some of this data. And today, for the first time, the worst part of this was, I said you hold a specific report that summarized this data. It has on the top, and it's in this somewhere. See if you can scroll back up to see if it's in this one. Because just
how far do you want me to go?
But when people read it to see the level of detail I had to go to. Oh no, hang on. Oh yeah, that's where we were a second. So back down a little. So really, I took at this point. So I said, I know as a fact you've done this. It has a heading: official CAA use only. This information is for CAA use only, and records the total infringements by drone model number of UK airports. And now, only today, they've admitted that they have this document. You know, this is not stuff people make up. But now they've said, yes, we do have it, but we're using a policing exemption. So it's like, oh, so you're a police force as well now, are you? So they're saying, you know, well, yes, we have got it after all, but you're not seeing it. I'm not happy about that. I'm going to argue the public interest on this. With all this, I'd said they could pseudonymize the data. And that's pseudonymize is where you replace stuff. So because encryption, you can decrypt it. Pseudonymization, you're replacing it. So it's with random stuff. So only the source would know how to reverse that in essence, which you could do subtly. I mean, to me, the more fair thing is you could say an airport in West Yorkshire, an airport, you know, you could do stuff where you're not giving it exactly away. Or if you're really, if they can make a good case, and I said this, if you can come me a really good case, why that's not acceptable, you know, I'm willing to be flexible. And maybe we could go, you know, we could come up with green, yellow, red airport, whatever. But as long as you're actually providing some of this information. But no, they've dug the heels in. So I'm not happy. So especially today that it's finally made, because it's essentially making me out to be a liar, because I'm saying you've got this document and they're going, no, we haven't. And the only way that can come about is the CAA have got a completely broken freedom of information process, in which case that's proper scary in itself. And it means anything they've answered in the past is, you know, potentially, you know, doubtful. Any subject access request is potentially doubtful because they don't seem to be able to get this information internally, or it means they've actually been concealing the information and are potentially committing a criminal offence. So you're doing one or the other, and there's not even any explanation. And I wouldn't mind so much if they said, "Oh, you know, we're really sorry, it was blah 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 blah," but we haven't even got that out of them. It's really very much. Actually, if you go back up to the bit with where it mentions the NPCC,
to the terrorism bit.
Oh, I've looked at that.
There it is.
That's always the desperate one, isn't it?
NPCC data.
The one I hear is it's in impervious correspondence. It's pervious. That probably explains why they've been including images of women's underwear in the replies. But no, this just says really that here they must have just rushed this at the last minute, and probably explains why they were trying to get me. They were actually telling me to withdraw it, and then they would answer my question on a new freedom of information. I thought, I'm not doing that. I fought for this long. The ICO's done at least, I think, an 8-week investigation. I'm not just going to withdraw that now. There's no need. But I did said if you'll summarize the information. So I said it like a gesture of goodwill. Is if you'll summarize the information. So if you said we have, because really, once they lost, they had to provide every record of information. So if the NPCC, which you know they've provided them with thousands of records. So say for argument's sake, they're giving them 6,000 records. They would have to provide those 6,000 records, plus them for anyone else. And I just said, if you give me NPCC and a total, and if someone else is giving you data, you know, one of the UTM companies, you'd say, if you just list all the companies that are giving you data and you say, they've given me 10 examples, they've given me 20, I'm fine with that. And that to me is a very reasonable thing. And, you know, that's me, you know, giving them a really easy get out as well then. But they haven't even done that. So what all they've replied to say is the NPCC have given us data and other sources. Well, I'm like, well, I've told you that. You've given me nothing. You've just told me what I've told you. And the thing that's, I wouldn't be too happy if I was NPCC. They're essentially throwing the NPCC under the bus because they're saying, "Oh, we've told the police not to be sending us this information." And I'm thinking, why doesn't the airspace regulator want to know about infringements with drones at airports? Surely, of all the people that needs to know this, you should be amongst that.
I think you and I, we argued about it today. We have different opinions about this. You think, well, they should know it. You should know exactly what's you should know exactly what's happening and exactly. It's far from it. It's air traffic that should know exactly what's happening, and the CAA only gets to find out when they need to try and pull some money or prosecute some people. They really don't know what's happening on a day-to-day basis in UK.
I think because these aren't day-to-day basis. This isn't just random. This is information from the airports. We're having a coffee. This is, we've had a drone infringement. It's definite. Here's the description. Here's the counter drone information. You know, because it has the counter drone information, it might even have the serial number. So surely that's something for the CAA to also be involved in. I don't see a good argument for saying that's not data they should be processing. So, and they're not even clear here. Are they saying they don't want to process it and don't want to hear about it? Or are they saying that this method has allowed freedom of information to be used and they don't want that to happen and they want the NPCC to give them some other way?
No, they've tied themselves up in knots in this all around. It's great. And as Simon said, they've thrown the okay, Caroline, no worries at all. As Simon said, the PCC being burned by the CAA, and it's left hand, right hand, isn't it? It's wow. So it's a good one. But I think the most telling thing was asking you to withdraw this one, because that would reset the clock and also would make the ICO, they wouldn't look at you too favorably. They did all that investigated.
Yeah, I think that look back, because if they've invested 8 weeks investigating this, and then I say I've withdrawn it, well, they're like, well, who's this time waster? And if I then tried to put something through again at a later date, they might think, well, no, sod it, but this is silly games playing. Yeah. So I contacted the ICO and said they've asked me to withdraw it, but I don't want to do that. It seems highly unusual, and you don't need to do that for me to say I want to simplify the request for you. You know, to me that's doing them a favour. And that shouldn't even be a matter of debate. You know, if they want, they've got the choice. They could either go and do what they're doing anyway. And I said to them, well, if that's the case, just do as you were going to do, which they haven't done, which shows that they were, when they thought about it, they thought, well, this is a good deal anyway. But like you say, it would have, I think, landed me in just because as well, if I did that, they could then say, well, no, stuff here, we're not answering. And then I have to fight that one all over again. So
absolutely.
It was a world of silliness for the end of this.
But now we let you out this week. We let you out of your foyer cave, and you left the foyer cave to travel all the way to somewhere near where you live. I don't know how far away it was from where you live.
Same postcode, so not far.
Same postcode. So you could walk then, I guess.
Yeah, I scrounged the lift off another drone up locally who was going in the same direction.
And you had a word to Randall. Let's just hear his opening line.
You say that it doesn't fly like a DJI drone, you're full of shit, because it does. If you say that the imagery is not as quality as the DJI stuff, you're full of shit, because it is. So, like, honestly, we license the technology. We just build it in a different place and put different software on it. But it is the same experience that you would have flying a DJI drone. It's just not a DJI drone. The data stays in the US on AWS servers. There's no call outs to DJI. It's not made in China. So it solves a lot of, it ticks the boxes, as you would say, until you get to, is it blue UAS? Is it green UAS? Is it all not Chinese componentry? Is it manufactured in the West? Those are all no.
So what was your takeaways from that then? What's your thoughts on what you saw there?
It's good of Randall actually to have chatted. To be honest, I didn't know what was going to happen on the day, because I'd only heard about it because you tagged me on LinkedIn. So yeah, that was it, because I couldn't really prepare for it, because I didn't have my DJI mics for me, because I didn't know if I'd have the chance to speak to anyone. So I thought I might just be getting photos and possibly a bit of video I could cut together as a little thing with some music over at the summit. And yeah, but I thought, well, I'll use autofocal lens, but I don't normally do. I normally do anamorphic, and I thought, no, that's going to be overkill. But I didn't have time to get step-up rings to use my NDs.
Well,
so,
yes, obviously.
It being sunny, well, as it is, I managed, but technically I should have had an ND on there as well. So I was like, well, sod it. What I did do was just cheeky, and I jumped in and I started asking him questions. And I said, oh, it's Ian from SUS News. Gary sent me to ask you questions. So at that point, he played along. But I felt a little sorry for Copters, because I'm not sure what they wanted to do. Because at the end, they were like nudging him, going, demo. You know, let's buy the thing. But I thought almost everyone there knows what a DJI drone does and what that model does, so there'd be no surprises in that. But they wouldn't know what Anzu was really offering. So I thought if he gets to chat, because there were a lot of people there that didn't know Anzu and didn't know what the difference was with DJI. Because there's like one woman that quizzed him because she was thinking, oh, has he stolen kind of, or is he copying DJI and is he using the name and he shouldn't do? Not realizing that, because he explained the one bit that isn't quite on that video is he did do a bit of background that he was originally a DJI. He was thinking he was the retail. So I think at that time it must have been like Colin Gwynn. We all saw as the face of DJI, but he must have been the whole retail sector face. And he went on, I think, to DJI Enterprise. I think he said. So
he was also part of Autel.
Oh, okay. So he's got a history where DJI would have known. We could get on with him. So he was saying that it was that sort of allowed him to make the connection to say, well, let's go for this idea of a DJI drone that it's not built in China, that it's strictly speaking, it's not the same software because it's not pinging off to the same servers. It's going off to the ones in the US. And I did ask him, I still think going to the US might be a problem in the UK or Europe with GDPR and stuff. Normally you have to have more local servers. There are issues where it goes off to other countries. But when I mentioned that, I said, well, if that's the case, that isn't a problem because saying already the CE certification's due, I think that's within the week. But yeah, if you had to do service for the UK or the EU, that's not a problem at all. And he went on to say, which I got at the end, was on the model that went out initially, because it comes back as though it's a DJI drone and they didn't think any issue of it. But obviously, it pings out on Aeroscope as a DJI drone as well. So if you're saying, oh, I ain't flying DJI, I'm flying an Anzu, if it then comes up on the Aeroscope as a DJI, it's going to end up with that confusion, which you don't really want. Which it's worked well in some ways because he was saying some authorities actually buy it to test counter drone out on, so but they're not allowed to buy DJI gear. So it works for them because they can buy somewhere that isn't a DJI, but appears as a DJI, so they can test their equipment on it. But what he said was the next run that they do afterwards will identify. So it must come up as a Anzu Raptor. So that's the only tweak they need to make. I don't know whether he was joking or not. He was saying that they may opt to change the color because he didn't. To be honest, there's no harm having a specific noticeable color because that can become as part of your brand. And that's why I had a bit of a laugh with the titles on there. I deliberately made them the same green as the drone as a little callback to that. But yeah, he was talking about when they do the next one, if they wanted, they could do the shell in a different color. I mean, there's only one practical issue with it. Obviously, if you're landing on grass, it's not as easy to see, but that shouldn't really be an issue because these are the things.
It's better if you're landing on water.
Well, yes. These are the things that you're supposed to be flying VLOS anyway, know where they are, and they're landing near you anyway. So, to be honest, that's kind of a bit of a non-issue. So,
what I want to know,
if people have a look at the video, if you're interested in it,
it's on the channel. Yeah.
I think it's about 7 or 8 minutes. So it's quite a fair old chat going into the sort of behind the scenes and his experience as well, because he's got what I wanted to capture there as well, which we do capture, is him as a person. You don't see that a lot with CEO, kind of level people. He personally was attacked by the media. So basically, we're saying, the way politicians are, because they want them to go on the anti-DJI narrative. He personally was attacked and said, no one thought the consequences that he could get a brick through his window, death threats, and so on, and all that. You could just tell it was just genuine delivery at the time, and then that I thought that was kind of nice. You see more of a, there's a person here.
But what? Excuse my ignorance of enterprise camera drones. Why do these things need to talk to a server anyway?
Lonely.
Is it just
to be honest, there are benefits in doing this when you're, for example, I think the fact that drone desk and that probably makes it less of an issue these days, but it was good for certainly, previously. Was when you come to your year end, you have to know what you've done for the year. You can go, grab your logs off there. And it's all done.
Can't you keep the logs locally? Logs are not a big thing. I mean, you can keep them on your transmitter. Or why don't these drone manufacturers say, we're going to provide you with software you can run on your own server, therefore you're totally internal with your communications. Why does it need to go to a corporately managed server in the cloud? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't necessarily, but just some people, they don't mind that. They don't want the hassle, but we're technical enough where if someone said ED software locally do that, we'd be fine with it. But, there are people that just spend their life on tablets and actually don't want any complexity.
They shouldn't be allowed to play with drones if
Well,
they're that stupid.
So for them, just going to have it all load, to go to a website and just export it. Life's easy. And besides which, you might be one of those people who want to go, well, I want to see if I've flown 1,000 miles more than my, than someone else in the leagues. But no, I don't think commercial operators are so bothered about that. But your hobby people are, aren't they? They love that stuff.
They do. And Sparky, I think Sparky's right that Kevin did prove that they still talk to the server in China. But I think they've countered that by saying they've rejigged all the software. But I stand to be corrected on that. But to me, sorry, Bruce, I think you were going to say something after you. No, okay. Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is, it's getting Texas is perhaps enacting its no DJI stuff. Lithuania said no DJI, and it's I just had to look it up. But in case you're wondering, it's 246 days to New Year's Eve now, and still nobody has stood up. No government agency has stood up and said DJI are okay, off we go. And remember, if they don't do it, and it's 247 days,
only 100 days from here.
Yeah, to New Year's Eve 1924. What was I going to say? Yeah, it's
you're telling us about your dementia.
Exactly. Time's running out. Time is running out on for DJI anyway. The NDAA will get them on New Year's Eve.
Also, what about tariffs?
Well, but that's where Randall's might have played the blinder. I think it's either 24 or 27% in Malaysia.
Malaysia, it's still quite high. It's still higher than 10%.
Still high, but
yeah.
But as a lot of people are saying with their tariff things, even with the tariffs, a lot of the stuff's still worth buying in America. It's still cheaper, even with these massive tariffs, than it would have been homegrown.
Skydio and Teal are overpriced.
Well, yeah.
So, but yeah, Randall did mention this and said, what it would do is it would put DJI and the Anzu on parity on price, so it wouldn't even be an issue for people to choose. And an important note on that as well for people that are thinking about buying one is you can use all the DJI accessories, the batteries, etc. He said it will not void your warranty. That you're perfectly fine to do it. So that's just
that's also clever.
They've got a lot of existing batteries and so on, so that's perfect.
Yeah, it's interesting. Will he have problems with supply chain because China is now no longer exporting magnets? So for motor, even things that can
to America,
no, to anywhere. From what I read, yeah. Because I've got a friend in Australia who wanted to order some magnetic holders for multimeters. This EEV blog, Dave Jones. He tried to order some magnetic holders for his multimeters, and he couldn't get them because China's no longer exporting rare earth magnets. So, are they going to be supplying the sky with his drones or not? Is it a policy that can be violated, or we don't know? Because it's going to hit the hobby market as well. Motors, they won't be exporting motors, so even if you're prepared to pay the tariffs, you may not be able to buy the product. And I put on X that I think it's about time China renamed FC as flight computer, because computers have no tariffs, but can flight control as well.
Yeah, nuts, isn't it? It's nuts. Well, it's still what was it? None or 10% even on that.
What?
And you got to find a ship to bring them across because not many are leaving, and with their China giving shipping companies 3 months free parking at least, that's very clever. It's very, very clever.
that de minimis thing's going to hit people too. If you're buying from AliExpress or any Chinese retailer, it's $100 minimum at the border for any package. You buy a $1 free shipping, it's going to cost you $101 because even though the 140% tariff, it's $100 or the tariff, whichever is the larger amount. And I think in a couple of months it goes up to $200 or the tariff amount. Yes, it does. It's like, it does. My goodness, it's just closed the door, which is why I think we're pretty safe in saying these tariffs won't stay in place long. But it means people just aren't buying stuff. Retailers are running out of stock. And small businesses are just not making purchasing decisions because they don't know where they're going. It's going to throw a spanner in the works of the US economy. Absolutely.
Well, Christmas especially is going to be the Christmas Grinch. If they don't turn it round soon, that's Christmas.
It'll be over by June. It'll be
but will the boats be? Will people be able to catch up? I guess they will. I guess there's enough time to charter aeroplanes, bring back the hula hoop. That's right. Yeah, running down the road with a stick in a wheel and all that sort of thing.
Pet rocks. Get the
pet rocks. That's right. That's right. So I mean, he could have put himself in an interesting position, old Randall. Remember, you heard about him here first. He came on to us first.
Like Skydio.
Like Skydio.
Someone, Simon had mentioned in the comments, he has, and I don't know whether it was because of the tariffs or he was thinking ahead anyway, but he had bought up a hell of a lot of hardware. So I think he's got a large buffer before
4,000 units. He had that from day one. So when he's saying he's going on to second project, do you think that's going to be a different DJI thing that they'll Anzuify and move on, or do you think it's just going to be another container of the current one?
I would have thought they would do the current one, and then maybe if they'll know what demand is. So because there were people there, they were asking for, I forget which one it is now. It's the one that's for using for crops. So yeah, that'll be a likely one because that was one that because asked about the last year, and this was one of his answers. Was he was saying he hadn't expected sort of the pushback, like with Poland, Lithuania, and other countries with against DJI, and saying that stuff like just surveying crops has become a security issue, which he wasn't expecting. He could understand military sites, but yeah, the agriculture side's been hit. So I would have thought that would be one that he'd be thinking of in all likelihood.
The thing is, if you buy a lot of stock, if you think too far ahead, then you're left with a whole lot of the old model that no one wants to buy.
Yeah. But I think you're pretty safe with the Mavic, aren't you? Green Autel. I was wondering. That's exactly what I was wondering, Sparky. And Simon suggesting that it's a non-DJI, the next one. I can't remember. What was the name of the other one coming out of the other factory in Malaysia that seems to have just...
Spectre,
that's right, I think it was. Yeah. But that seems to just... disappeared, doesn't it?
Flew back to China.
Nobody's. You have no one in the chat. No one's heard anything about that. Have they all know anything about that? I think it was Spectre.
Spectre, yeah, something.
And Half Chrome Dome had one, didn't he?
Do you know who was making it?
It was another Malaysian factory, the same one.
The back door of the green factory, perhaps.
No, I was just wondering because I'm sure he said that was originally what the code name was going to be for it. So maybe that it's one and the same.
No, because it was the 250 gram one, 240.
Oh no, it's not that.
Spectre Air.
I think it's something totally different, then, isn't it?
That's not it. Spectre Air drone. That is. Well, let me put up what I've just found, but that's not it. It was maybe it wasn't called that. That's what it says. This is, but it's not that one. Well, that looks very DJI. I can't remember what it was, but there was another one.
Spectre, SPECTA. The Spectre Mini.
Spectre Mini. Half Chrome Dome had one, didn't he? I bought a Spectre Mini. Here it is.
See what life is like without dementia, Gary? Do you remember these days?
I don't. I wonder sometimes. It's a day. It's a day teaching children. That'll do it to you. You spend a day with loads of children. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, well, you can obviously still buy it, but the world's not gone mad for it, has it? I wonder why. I wonder why. It seems. I mean, I'm very happy with my little hotel because I go, where do you see the price on this website?
The trouble with a lot of these stuff is you see a lot of stuff coming out of wherever with that's looking DJI like, and it's all just crud.
I'm going with Dronettes myself. $49, 2 for $79. They've got military grade stuff, and they've got GPS and follow me, and it's fantastic.
Is that on YouTube? Is that one of the things that was that made by an ex-employee of a large
ex-employee of a major drone company who saw how much profit they were making and thought this is not good.
I think. I know I've seen that advert as well.
And when the patents ran out, they decided to do it themselves. I think. Yep. Yeah,
good blokes. Yeah. I see they've also done a lot of other stuff on YouTube ads as well. They've also they've kindly donated their image to stock photography. What a genuine thing to do.
I keep seeing the stop. Don't waste money on generators and whatever.
Free energy.
It's like
the big power companies are trying to block this. Get in now. This offer may not last.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. You think the power's beneath your feet? How is it?
Big Pharma is trying to stop this hack. This water hack will save your life 10 minutes each night.
See, Bruce, I don't know why you're complaining about the YouTube scam ads. You could be doing them.
I could.
You're not using.
But I just can't believe, honestly, that the ethics of a company like YouTube, Google, when they know these ads, people are reporting, thousands of people are reporting them, and they just let the advertiser exhaust their budget before they stop. And how can you do that? And at the same time, tell an old man that he's at risk of losing his channel because he had a realistic model airplane on it. I mean,
Bruce, what you have to do now is on your channel, you'll have to, because you've got the green screen, you've got it all, is you need to record these comedy ads with you in them. And do it as your own ad inside of your own feed.
Oh, yes.
The interesting thing, I used some footage from one of those ads in a video, and I got a copyright claim on the music. So they're not even paying for the music. They're using copyrighted music, and YouTube's still showing it. I bet you they haven't got a license for the music, but YouTube will show it. No copyright claim on the ad because it's like two sets of rules. It's so hypocritical. I just
and YouTube's completely changed what it's showing me this week, and that makes a difference to my 20 cents of revenue. But it's not that I really care, but I imagine if people really put a lot of time and effort into it, and it changes in such a massive way, that's a problem for them. Yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair.
I've got to say, I've benefited from the algorithm. My videos are getting hundreds of thousands of views. What's going on there? That's not right.
Just because you're pushing Nazi stuff. It's currently very popular. You're right on trend.
Everyone loves stickers.
There you go. Simon mentioned Spain and Portugal power supply issues. That was quite interesting. Someone just pulled the plug out, didn't they?
Oh no, it was a cyber hack. Didn't you read the narrative?
I haven't.
Media's hamming it up. It could have been a cyber attack. Now the whole world's at risk from cyber attacks on essential utility services, and click. They're just looking for the clickbait.
Thankfully, I didn't bother reading any of that clickbait, but it is concerning how a country and everything, to the point people are back to using cash with so many. You think of all the businesses that got rid of it. Imagine when it had gone, it would be anarchy. People not being out buying food.
New Zealand had
would you?
In Auckland, in New Zealand, we had a power outage for like 5-6 weeks when our underground cables all burnt up. And that was really interesting. That was back late 1990s, I think, before when we still used cash a bit. But it showed the whole place just ground to a halt. And it was just amazing. And that it could happen for so long in a first world country was also quite amazing. But we are so under the thumb of our technology. Like if we do lose the electricity, we lose our cellular services, we lose our ability to pay, because a lot of countries now moving to cashless society. Once that happens, people will starve because they can't buy food. In a first world country, when there's food behind the door of the supermarket, but you can't pay for it, you can't have it. It's like crazy stuff.
Well, it just made us all chuckle here. What was it, like 6 hours it went off for? Something earth-shattering like that? Like, what?
You could have written the book, Gary.
What? It's like, it must make an advert and a manual and a whole handbook.
No, you need to make a video. Surviving the power crisis.
That's right, but they won't be able to watch it. It's yeah, we routinely have that. 6 is easy. 27, 36 is quite hard. But 6, well, you don't even know it's all just go to the pub. Now, anyway, our person mentioned today says, Sparky, that public VTOL's 3 years away. Do they mean crude? Do they mean flying taxis?
They're smoking.
Then the National Police Air Service with theirs, that would be doable in that, well within that. But if they mean people flying about, then no.
Well, yeah, the MPAS is going to be September. That's when they're going to be running their trial in the UK. So yeah.
Oh, that's a trial though. But I with that kind of thing, when you get in that kind of serious chassis that they're flying in, and then all you're doing is you just put in your same optics that you're using on your police helicopter, and you're just having to put the process around that. And when your whole organization is based around those skills, to me, if the CAA are in any way helpful, which we know they're not always,
not now.
but if they are, then there'd be no reason not to be able to do it in that time.
And friend of the show, Craig Lippett, he's on the ARPAS. Sorry? Taxis, yeah. Yeah, well. Sorry.
Is it ARPAS or NRPAS? Isn't correct grammar NRPAS?
Oh, very good. Yes, yes. No, I don't know about your grandmother. Land like a Chinese space capsule. Yeah, but yeah, it's got to get airborne first. I saw some very interesting. A couple of things from reporters. Well, I can't even remember which airline-based thing it was, and none of them were very impressed with the actual aircraft and things once they've been in America. Another one of them, they could see it. I think the public buy-in is beginning to wane as well.
I've spotted an opportunity though.
Oh, here you go.
No. I reckon the big uptake will be funeral services. It'll cremate you and scatter your ashes at the same time.
One shot. Sardrone with a full-size stretcher. Yes, there's quite a few of those out now. And as I said, there's a Chinese thing that's just come out this week that does 100 kilos. I remember when all the delivery drone fuss started, it was going to be 2 kilos or 5 kilos or something like that, or even 1 kilo. But now it's just 100. Let's start at 100. And
what about Mount Everest?
Well, that was going to happen, wasn't it? At a huge altitude, and
I can't believe it. They're worried about a drone. A drone had to make an emergency landing with a parachute at Mount Everest, and it could have hurt somebody. 340 people have already died trying to climb that mountain. I don't think a drone is the biggest of their worries, is it?
And also, it rather speaks to why on earth are all those people, all the mountain tourists up there and needing resupply, and it's dangerous. It's
as long as they're taking the rubbish back down, it's a mess up there.
Well, exactly. Well, yes. I mean, I think I can't remember what the things delivering up there is. Oxygen, all sorts of things, emergency supplies,
chocolate bar wrappers,
bar wrappers. But it's
old bodies, 340 corpses.
Heck of a testing ground, though. Heck of a testing ground.
Do you remember that New Zealand company that were going to build a diesel-powered helicopter that could ascend to the top of Mount Everest and rescue people? And one of our former members of Parliament, who was just a fraudster. Oh, it was terrible.
Oh, was it? Well, of course, there is that New Zealand company that I forgot to mention.
A $67 million deal with the UK government.
That's the very one, yes. And I'm now looking for them. But yeah, well done them. We must get them on because you'll be able to translate for us.
Well, they seem to be doing a good job. They've got quite a range of vehicles, and
interesting.
Why is the UK government buying off our country? What, don't they have any indigenous drone developers that can produce a similar product? Are we that far ahead in New Zealand?
Oh, well, yes and no, I suppose, without downing them. I mean, but fair play to them for getting the gig. If UK guys haven't rushed to do it and haven't got themselves in the frame, then that's the sort of thing that's going to happen.
You've got to ask why. In a country that is so much more capital rich than New Zealand, with so many more people potentially working on the same problem, why has New Zealand succeeded? What is it that's holding back the UK drone industry? Is it CAA?
Isn't that ever the question now?
It is. Someone should ask that. Ian, do it for you.
Yeah, well, it's very much the CAA is part of it, isn't it? And risk aversion.
To be fair, when we say CAA, it can be the DFT. The two lines are really blurred with them, aren't they? So they're kind of at the behest of and the kind of the worldview that the DFT have, which is this, eVTOL. The trouble is, it's all your big kind of military players. Big companies that just want to do as well, and your telecoms that want to do, sims for drones and all that kind of stuff. That's got the ear of the DFT, and that isn't making, that's not going to bring fast to market solutions. It's going to bring solutions that often will be as bloated as possible to make as many opportunities to monetize it along the way.
And
isn't amusing. Go on, mate.
But I think a lot of these military contracts and things, they tend to buy from overseas companies because it's much more enjoyable to do fact-finding missions in foreign countries than in your own country. So who are you going to buy from? Well, we'll have to look at this foreign product and go and check it out. Oh, yes, we'll spend 2 months over there and stop off at Hawaii on the way back. Yes, we'll buy that product. Whereas no good just going down the road and having a coffee and a biscuit. That's nowhere near as exciting.
It's interesting.
One thing to the comments, Simon said, there's a SAR drone with a full-size stretch on it, but to me, that's still likely a delivery drone. Chances are,
that's what I meant.
Otherwise, I'm saying now it's running Argopilot, which shouldn't even be carrying a man thing if you followed the, certainly if you're a developer supporting it. So I would be saying, show me your software, show me your development team, show me your testers that have all tested it, and all that stuff that takes 10 years to do. Everyone seems to want to get to market fast. Not many companies want to do the whole proper shebang of what you should be doing to get to market as a proper certified manned product.
Well, and the interesting thing is, with our advert on the right-hand side there, that's my chum Luke.
Does he sell Suzuki's?
Yeah, exactly. That platform there is much better than that one there in the advert. Because I've flown both, and I'll tell you, I'd rather have that one. So I'm intrigued that they went that. Maybe that's not what they're having out of them. But it's only a Chinese airframe that they've put an autopilot and a camera in. It's not something that's been developed. Certainly that one. Maybe they've done other things.
They have done other things. I could probably find some for you if you like.
They
put a video up. There's a news video from one of our news things. We went to the factory and had a look at everything, and but it looked like they were pretty traditional, off the shelf sort of airframes, and they're more like systems integrators than anything.
There you go. Yeah. Well, and it's UK Mod Specialist had to train in Turkey as a CA block their renewal. Yes, I heard about that. I heard about that, and I heard about the displeasure for the UK mod people.
Is it the one that had the guns on it, the drone with the missiles or something?
Well, he's there, but there's no there are other training. The CAA stopped. I did hear about that. Same camera on the porch. Yeah, exactly. It's all gear that we kind of have lying around, or a few people have lying around for reasons. So it's as you said, systems integrators, and then there's this bit of a gold rush in America, isn't there, to make FPV drones? But somebody said on LinkedIn, no, nobody can possibly start a company in the drone world without a professor on board. I said, you what? What? It's that over egging of the whole thing, isn't it? It's like,
can you get a PhD in eVTOL yet? That'd be great. PhD in eVTOL.
Yeah, no, it's not rocket science, but getting it, mass producing it would be it. That's going to be the hard bit. Is getting all the bits in because that's the hard bit, not the making of the thing, but the producing it. I'm a firm advocate that young soldiers, sailors, and airmen, and I mean young ones. I mean the 18, 19, 20-year-olds, not the colonels, not the whatever, should be just be given gear, let out, build something for the squad, and they'll come up with something that they need and is useful, and then send it off to someone else to make it. Send it off to a factory in Malaysia or wherever.
China.
Just send it. China. Just send it off somewhere else.
Ukraine now has got some pretty good factories, apparently.
Oh, it's not even they're producing. Well, they're losing 5,000 or 6,000 plus a day, and then replacing them. It's more than India. Yes, I agree with you, Simon. End up mass production base for other countries. Yeah, you're exactly right. And what's holding India back, though, is a lot of the companies, the early companies there, are backed by politicians who look the other way when buying the Chinese components. So the ones that are genuinely innovating in India with Indian parts are struggling to get past that roadblock of the major headlines are going at various politicians' nephews and nieces. Hashtag just saying, that's me not going to India, isn't it? But that's the truth of it. They have a made in India policy there that's just widely ignored, just completely ignored.
The interesting thing is that drones are very cheap. Well, FPV drones are a very cheap weapon of war. Do you know how much a howitzer shell costs? It's like thousands of dollars. And that's shooting like how many millions of these things? So when you look at $500 for a FPV drone, it's cheaper than a shell out of a bloody field.
It is extraordinary, isn't it? I don't think I realised before this very sad conflict quite how much a single shell. Well, I didn't know how much a single shell was, and the precision with which that single shell goes. And it's quite interesting that when you listen to the chaps from Ukraine talking about, because Western companies are hyping up AI and all. Oh no, we're going to fit AI to it, and it'll do this and it'll do that, and they're saying there isn't time for AI to think about it. There isn't time for reasoning. It's like it's just like a.
You've seen the Neo, how it'll follow you. That technology in an FPV drone, all the pilot's got to do is just click on the guy he wants to do and just start on his next project, because that'll follow you, track you quite incredibly well. So that would take the role away from the pilot. Just once you identify your target, track and follow, away you go. I mean, I see that's going to be the next feature for these field drones, for these FPV attack drones.
Well, I think they've got to be chucked. They're really like a long-range hand grenade, aren't they? It's they go a bit further. I think we're overthinking what they're actually doing. They're not. A lot of them aren't flying in from Mars. The high altitude stuff with the AI, yes. Did you see the footage of the one that was just lurking and doing stuff with the Russian fighter flying under it that they were tracking? So that's anyway. Let's not go too far. It's a terrible thing.
It is.
It is a terrible thing.
The New Zealand company was very clever, because they were asked if they were, what did they think about putting munitions on them and making them weapons of war? And he said, we just deliver the drones. Not having anything to do with it. He said, it, just like a Toyota can be used for bad things, Toyota pickup.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that of course is, that's old Kevin's big thing, isn't it? Cape Mare. Yeah, well, that's what's he telling us on here?
All the time, and so we.
For the past 2 weeks, the FAA has been testing drone detection technology over the water near Cape May, New Jersey. As drone use becomes a normal part of aviation, we want to more accurately detect drones in our nation's airspace. And we want to make sure these drones don't interfere with aircraft navigation systems.
Remote
I
ideas
think drones are becoming more ubiquitous.
As they become, that's annoying, isn't it? Let's stop watching
remote
that.
IDs. This is a problem that's been solved.
This is interesting. You need to get a show back on show, and I'm assuming they haven't replaced what's his name now? I've forgotten, because it Lux. So I assume that they haven't replaced him yet, because I know he was retiring. But when they've got a replacement, we're worth having him on the show. So they would obviously we know they've done good science around drone impacts, and generally it's up there for peer review. But then now they've been chosen to do this counter drone testing where there was 100 drones. They made 100 models. So I was thinking, how do you even get 100 models? So it looks like a lot of them actually are just self-built, ID-Pilot self-built and stuff. So maybe it's not really 100. So, it's not 100 variations you're testing really, because a lot of people might have built with exactly the same components or very similar. So you're probably not testing as broad as that number suggests. But it's still good regardless, because what we see all too often is counter drone being tested, and we will get out the DJI Phantom, or if we're really trying to push it, we'll get out to Mavic, and it's like, come on, you're literally making a test to succeed. So it's good to see a show doing that. But I have asked on doing the replies on X. So does this mean you're going to put the results out for peer review? And it is tumbleweed every time, tumbleweed. So I'm just a bit concerned that they might be saying, "Oh yeah, it was all successful, blah blah blah," without putting it out there with a load of systems not having detected out. And that would concern me, because it's like, well, if we're going to be transparent about drone impacts in that, why is counter drone the exception that we can't have transparency and honesty about?
Because we can't reveal.
No, give the secrets away.
Exactly, can't give away the secrets.
I've got a drone with 915 ISM RC link and 3.3 gigahertz video link. The drone gun, I saw them touting that they won't do a damn thing to that.
No, but
it has GPS
give away secrets. You can just say which system detected everything and which didn't, and then you've got your purchasing decision right there, and that'll up the game of that person. That system that wasn't detecting stuff. It's like with antivirus, we've got all the stats there for that, and you can make the very same argument against that. Well, we know that one's good, we know that one's crap, but that's kind of stuff you should know, because otherwise we're actually making a problem for our national security, because in the private sector, your airports are still private sector. They'll be buying systems that aren't suitable. And you could still even have police forces in that, especially in America, where for some reason, if you just happen to accidentally send the police officers of that force stuff, you're saying, "Oh, we're not sponsoring them. That tablet was just a gift and stuff," and then suddenly they start buying that equipment. It's not a good situation.
Wow.
But the big flaw with these drone guns, it's like any kind of radar system. Now they have drones that home in on the signal. So the first wave of drones you send out takes out all the anti-drone guns, and the next wave has got no problem going through, because everyone's stupid enough to point one of these things at the sky has been obliterated.
Yeah, well, that's what we saw. Yeah. This was the chat was on X because of the Pope's funeral. So there was the drone gun. Always have to have the drone gun to show off. And then straight away you get the specs online. You can see which radio frequencies it can't jam. Straight away you can put an unjammable drone up anyway. But yeah, as Kevin and that was pointed out, what they do in the Ukraine is they'll put detectors on the drones for jammers trying to jam those frequencies, and then the drone flies into the jammer. Which
is just what I can't remember what the missile was that did that. But there was a missile that did exactly that. And that's why, so as soon as you're on exercise, the first thing you do is switch the radar off. You don't have the radar on, or the radar's miles away. It's okay, but it's not going to be there long anyway. So you definitely would send a wave, and those, because of course they're high-powered RF things. There'll be aircrafts. They've got that Saab with the airborne radar now. That'll be hearing those things miles away. The
thing that gets with that as well, it's line of sight. You're in an urban environment. A lot of your sight's blocked anyway, so you're being relied on to be being complete awareness all the time, because you're going to be seeing it last minute, because it could be flying around the buildings to that very moment. And in that time, if it's a fast enough drone, it could even be well past you before you've even had a chance to shoot it. So it is one of those things where really people are so focused on the effector, they've forgotten about the detection, and that's where it's I'd say that's foremost importance, is trying to have the awareness of drones being there.
if we look at the bigger threat, it's people driving cars into crowds of other people.
Yes, well,
what are we doing about that? We've got the bollards and things, but we can't use those everywhere. So why aren't we focusing on the bigger problems, which are taking lives on an almost daily basis?
Because there's not as much money there.
That's right. Exactly.
Let's do it.
Right.
See if can I zoom this one in, because this is I think Kevin
looks like straight out of the 80s with all those square lines.
Have I just drawn it? Yeah, just use. Well, it does a bit, but then what? Oh, is it zooming? I can't tell.
Yes.
It's coming bigger.
But each of those buttons is a different frequency. So imagine the things, but it's got a telescopic sight look, so you're okay. But
exactly.
imagine it's coming down. You're going down through all the. I wonder, is it 2.4? Is it a 5.4?
Yeah, you'd have to go through.
Come off down the radio range to sight in my gun.
Go long to the shore.
By the time you've got the right board, it's already a mile past you.
Besides which, the beam out of anything like that's going to be at least 15 degrees wide, so you don't really need a telescopic sight, do you?
But it's being done to sell to the US, where they love the gun thing.
But we could. How much would it cost us to knock that up in a 3D printer? What could we sell?
You know, the next thing, I bet you they come up with bomb detectors, and I bet you NATO buys them, and I bet you they don't work.
Oh yes.
I mean, this is not the first time that people have been completely scammed by people offering something that just isn't going to work properly.
The sad thing is,
and why has it got a magazine on it?
Yeah,
so you can change bullets.
Probably the most expensive thing on that. That's where all the money is. I bet the magazine's the battery in it.
No, but that scope, it's probably specially designed so the recoil doesn't damage the optics. Like with an air rifle.
Yeah.
It says in the specs low recoil.
Low, yeah.
The
butt, so it's a bit uncomfortable, the butt, isn't it? So it's got to be low recoil.
It's a joke of a butt.
Yeah, operated by squeeze-button musicians. So it's just, it's
a super soaker for drones.
Super soaker could work. That's what you need.
Yeah, true. and not many drones are waterproof, so hey, there's a market there.
Yeah, it's. I think we lose context, and I saw there's another thing, I can't find it now on LinkedIn, where they've got two guys with shotguns as one comes over the thing and they fire it and get it. I say, well, but what about the ones behind you? You know, I mean, it's not as simple as that. A birthday balloon with a string on it. Yeah, exactly. Loads of them. Barrage balloons. Yeah. Of course, it gives away where you are.
Chaff rockets, something fires up bloody little strands of carbon fiber and they'll float down slowly. That's going to take some out.
Yeah. But I think but you do that. You have that shot of this, shot of this, shot of the other. But there will be one there, one there,
just
one
a
there,
sign
one
that
there.
says no drones. It's going to be equally effective.
But that's the trouble of it, isn't it?
Put in a no-fly zone thing, so that when they
no-fly zone
is unable to take off, you're in a no-fly zone.
And Johnny D about the delivery drones, I'm sure, but delivery drones in urban areas really aren't everywhere yet. Perhaps Ireland has the highest density of them. But
what are you saying about the Irish people?
Steady on. As soon as we see them in numbers anywhere, then we're going to start seeing them being. Well, a couple have already been pulled out of the sky in Australia, haven't they?
Yeah,
as they went down.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah. Microphones towards defending against the attacker drones. Well, you say that, Simon, but of course, and as Sparky correctly says, Sparky wins the prize tonight.
Yeah.
Rid will sort all this.
This problem's been solved. It's been solved.
Yeah. Rid will say he's absolutely right, and that's made me forget. Microphone, you meant microphone, but the microphones. When you say that, the app, the early warning system that they've created in Ukraine with a telephone app, hearing the missiles coming, and then I mean that's extraordinary. If you consider all the defense companies that have millions for radars,
it's like passive radar, but with audio. Yeah. And the interesting thing in the USA, a lot of the police forces have microphones positioned around the town. When there's gunshots, they can triangulate and find the position of the gunshot within meters.
And you can do that. Some of the counter drone systems have that as sensor as well, a microphone. It will use. It will. We'll have a recorded sound of each particular model. Although obviously you're going to mess that up if you start putting different props on than the manufacturer's one. But
you'd void the warranty though.
Well, obviously.
I've heard it's the only sensor that you can't defeat in their counter UAS system. All the others
siren on your drone.
Well, no, because they'll still hear it better.
They wouldn't know what sort of drone. A white
No,
noise
that's
generator?
White noise.
With a white noise?
Maybe, yeah. Well, then there's your in. And now that made me think, have we
the laser downing thing? Yeah, this low-tech solutions to high-tech problems all over the place.
There are. Has everyone heard? If I was really slick, I would have made this happen right at the end of the hour. Has everyone heard? You made me think of this very, very famous pen. Have I managed to do it?
There's always one last one, isn't there? $1918. How did they record that?
And Birdsong, but I did. I could. There we are. I could edit. Look at that, bang on the hour. I've got
no, it's way past the hour. Your clock is.
It's
1 hour and 36 minutes. 1 hour, 1 minute, 36. Carrie really is living in the past.
Does it really? Does it really say that over there?
Yeah.
Well,
thank 2 minutes past, 2 minutes past 10, or here.
Really, it's so 32 seconds straight. But that's they recorded. They were doing gun ranging with recordings in the First World War. So all of this is not new, and that I played that at school as when we talk about the First World War, just because the first thing they hear is birdsong, and even the children hear that. It's extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, imagine. But you know, all of this, all our world, like Mr. FAA in that last thing, all the things that drones are new, drones are get in the sky. Bloody 1917, a year before that recording, they were flying drones. So like, fuck you. It really is. And now let's see. Oh, Ian's probably opened up some things for the Ian hour. Let's see what we've got here. Oh yes.
This is just news that's spotted today, so you might already know some of these, Gary, to be able to add to them.
Well, no, I don't know. Let's accept it's Richard. I don't know the ins and outs of it. Quite interesting, I think.
It sounds like sort of the Altitude Angel technology being rolled out to Europe, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, but they've been there with LVL for quite a little while, haven't they? So yeah, good luck to them. I hope it's still going. We haven't heard. We must get Richard on again. And then what's this one? What's this Jobby pilot on board transition?
This is your favourite, Jobby. They said they've done the transitioning with 6 test pilots this week. So this is the first for them to actually do the.
Look how complicated that thing is. Look, every single bit they're filling in nuts and bolts and this and that. And
to be honest, that gives me more reassurance than the EHang. To be right honest, though.
Oh yeah, well,
this to me looks like this is the kind of essentially a proper helicopter, like it, but it's like it's kind of like that, but an eVTOL.
But they're is it not 3 times more expensive than an equivalent helicopter? They'll be able to do just the same thing.
Oh, maybe well be. I mean, there's still the economic arguments at the end of it, and if they really add up, well, time will tell.
And we all know what happens if just one of those blades departs the hub.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just putting that recording in the thing. It is an extraordinary recording, and yeah, it just puts us all in our place, really, doesn't it? I suppose. Let's stop sharing that. Yes. Well, it does. Oh no, I didn't want to do that. Oh no, no, because I'm supposed to be over here now, aren't I? That's it. I'll go. We have our briefing at the beginning. Bruce told me all about being over here. Look, we've gone over the hour by some amount of time, more time than I even think. So, dear viewer, wherever you are in the world, look after yourselves.
We've seen anything more this week.
Have we seen? Oh, all right. Have we seen anything more this week? Sorry, I know. Have we? No. Oh God, here we go. He is about to go.
No, he said no, mate. He said no.
No. Arnold saw a red rocket.
I did just see Arsenal get beaten by Paris Saint-Germain. So if there's any Arsenal fans watching, I'm sorry. I'm not really.
My brother's team, Nottingham Forest, lost on the weekend as well, so he wasn't a happy bunny then. But for me,
to be fair.
I don't know. I barely watched it. Anyway, we're definitely going off topic. Dear viewer, wherever you're in the world, look after yourselves. We'll see you again next week at 2100 Gin and Tonic, when I think we'll have a couple more guests. Take care for now. Cheerio to click.